Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt is the heartwarming tale of a grumpy octopus and a lonely widow who join forces to solve a decades-old mystery. It's a quirky, charming debut that's equal parts heartfelt and hilarious, with a touch of aquatic magic that will make you look twice at the next octopus you see at the aquarium. After all, who knew a cephalopod could be so insightful, or so sarcastic? Plot overview, not your average aquatic adventure. The novel introduces us to Tova Sullivan, a 70-something widow who, in true Scandinavian-American style, deals with her grief by cleaning the heck out of everything. Since losing her husband and, before that, her teenage son Eric, who vanished mysteriously, Tova keeps herself busy as the night shift janitor at the Sewell Bay Aquarium. It's not that she loves scrubbing fish tanks at 3 a.m., but it beats sitting at home with her cat, who, let's be honest, offers very little in the way of stimulating conversation. Enter Marcellus, a giant Pacific octopus who resides in one of the aquarium's tanks. Marcellus is no ordinary octopus. He's an escape artist with a biting sense of humor, a knack for squeezing into tight spaces, and a surprisingly detailed knowledge of human psychology. Oh, and did I mention he's also on a mission? Because when you're an octopus nearing the end of your lifespan, did you know they only live about 4 years? Oh, you've got to prioritize. And right now, Marcellus's top priority is helping Tova solve the mystery of her son's disappearance. Things get even more interesting when Cameron, a 30-something guy who's 1 part lost soul and 2 parts underachiever, blows into town looking for the father he never knew. Cameron's life is a bit of a mess. He's got a van, a questionable work history, and some unresolved abandonment issues. But fate, or Marcellus's tentacled intervention, brings him to Sewell Bay, where he and Tova strike up an unlikely friendship. Together, with a few nudges from our 8-armed matchmaker, they start unraveling the truth about Eric's disappearance. Characters, humans and cephalopods alike. The characters in Remarkably Bright Creatures are what makes the book shine brighter than a bioluminescent jellyfish. Tova is an absolute gem of a character. Sure, she's a little prickly and tends to keep people at arm's length, but can you blame her? She's lived a life filled with loss and disappointment, so scrubbing away her feelings is her form of therapy. As she slowly starts to let people in, thanks to her budding friendship with Cameron and the wise counsel of Marcellus, you can't help but root for her. Cameron, meanwhile, starts off as that guy who's always making excuses for why his life hasn't panned out, but gradually reveals a sweet, earnest side that makes you want to see him get his act together. His rapport with Tova is both endearing and funny, particularly when she's calling him out on his nonsense in that blunt but kind way that only an older woman can pull off. But let's be real, the star of the show is Marcellus. His chapters are a mix of dry wit, keen observations, and a dash of existential crisis, as one might expect from an octopus in captivity. Marcellus is full of opinions, especially about the humans who bumble around the aquarium, and isn't shy about sharing them. He's the sort of narrator who'll wax poetic about the sea one moment and then complain about the inadequacies of human plumbing the next. There's just something endlessly amusing about a creature who sees the world from behind glass but still manages to understand people better than they understand themselves. Themes: deep dive into grief, family, and the wonders of cephalopods. While the book has plenty of laughs, it's also a touching exploration of loss and healing. Tova, Cameron, and even Marcellus are all grappling with different forms of grief. For Tova, it's the hole left by her son's disappearance and her husband's death. For Cameron, it's the emptiness of not knowing who his father is or why his mother abandoned him. And for Marcellus, well, it's the indignity of being a magnificent creature trapped in a tank when he could be out in the ocean, eating all the delicious crabs his heart desires. The novel's portrayal of family is also beautifully done. It's not just about the family you're born into, but the one you find along the way. Tova's friendships with the nitwits, a group of local ladies who knit and gossip with unmatched efficiency, show that even when life doesn't turn out as planned, there's always room for new connections. And for Cameron, finding a sense of belonging at the aquarium, even if he didn't exactly start out as Employee of the Month material, becomes a crucial part of his growth. The theme of freedom versus captivity runs through the book as well, with Marcellus serving as a rather unconventional guide to living life fully. Sure, he's stuck in a tank, but that doesn't stop him from seizing every opportunity to escape, explore, and occasionally pilfer the odd mackerel. His musings on the nature of freedom are surprisingly profound for someone with tentacles and a beak. Writing style: playful, poignant, and just a little fishy. Shelby Van Pelt's writing strikes the perfect balance between humor and heartache. The alternating perspectives, from Tova's no-nonsense pragmatism to Cameron's blend of cynicism and hope, and of course, Marcellus's delightful snark, keep the story lively and varied. The pacing is brisk, making it easy to get lost in the world of Sowell Bay and its quirky inhabitants, while the dialogue is sharp and often funny enough to prompt actual out-loud chuckles. Marcellus's chapters, written in the first person, or is it the first cephalopod, are a real treat. His voice is so distinct and witty that you'll wish you could keep him in your own fish tank just to have someone around who's smarter than you and knows it. Van Pelt has a knack for giving him a personality that feels believable and complex, even though he's, an octopus. Critique, because no book is perfect even if the octopus is. If there is a criticism to be made, it's that the resolution of Eric's disappearance isn't exactly a mind-blowing twist. The clues are there for the taking, and while the reveal is satisfying, it doesn't come with the shock factor that some mystery lovers might crave. But honestly, this book isn't really about the whodunit aspect, it's about the emotional journey of the characters, and on that front, it more than delivers. Also, Cameron's growth might feel a bit too speedy for some readers. He goes from aimless to semi-functional pretty quickly, and it would have been interesting to see a bit more struggle as he works through his issues. Then again, who's to say that being friends with a sassy octopus doesn't accelerate personal development? Conclusion: dive in, the water's great. Remarkably Bright Creatures is a delightful blend of humor, heart, and aquatic escapades. It's a feel-good story that manages to tackle some heavy themes without ever feeling weighed down. If you're looking for a book that will make you laugh, maybe tear up a bit, and definitely reconsider the intelligence of sea life, then this is the one for you. And remember, next time you're at the aquarium, keep an eye on the octopus. He might be just plotting his next great escape or solving a mystery while you're not looking.